Hey guys, I'm Chad Keel. I'm here with my sensei and also one of my business gurus, Sensei Paulo Guillobel. Sensei Paulo, why don't you give us a little brief introduction about your business here, Guillobel Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and we can start the interview from there.
All right, so first of all, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Chad, and let's get right into it, okay? So I came to San Clemente in 2005, opened the business in 2006. Now we are in 2018. At the beginning, my business was just like I'm teaching Jiu Jitsu a lot, and I had my wife, my ex-wife actually, helping me out. We didn't have any experience with any business and anything about business. It just, I would just love to teach Jiu Jitsu, and I always thought that if I do a great job, people will come to me. And so we've done that for many years this way, and we had a good number of people like they were really good training with us jiu-jitsu. But like when I say good number of people at a time, it's just like 50 or 60, but that was not enough to pay the bills and all that. In 2010 we changed a couple of things which we're going to talk about more, but and then I move on to the new location, which is the new location that we are at right now, which is a more retail location, and that was in the end of 2011, and we're here since then. And then since then the business has went to 250 students now and growing. Okay, so basically we've been here in San Clemente for this amount of time, and and just trying to keep growing the business. This is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school only, so we focus on teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and also teaching life skills related to martial arts to people. And basically the idea is now is a little bit beyond Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now is about empowerment through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So that's one of the things we try to accomplish.
Let's talk about some things I've written down about you that I've noticed personally about you, some of your great trademarks as a character. You're a very efficient person. You're a very disciplined person. You're a very organized person, and you always keep a level of optimism when you're dealing with all your customers and all your students. So let's kind of like go through each of those. Please touch each of those for the viewers. Like efficiency. Why is it important, and how do you stay efficient in business?
Yeah, well, it's super important. It's having like a well-oiled machine, right? So, well, how you stay efficient? First, you gotta optimize every little thing. The little things matter, and more I realize that. So what are the little things can you optimize to be more efficient, right? Finding efficient people to work for you might be, I think, the best advice of all, because you cannot do everything. And if you are efficient and nobody else in your group is, and your staff is, then your company is not efficient. But it is a fight, right? Because it is a challenge, because it's something that is a pursuit too. For me, I'm pursuing efficiency, I'm pursuing excellence, and to pursue those things, you got to be looking into every little thing, and obviously if you have a huge business, it'll be different, but as long as you put people in certain spots, they are able to do things like that for you. I think you're in a good way, in good hands. All right, but yeah, the pursuit of efficiency. I make sure that you get more with what you have. I don't know if we're going to talk about that, but organize your time. I wasn't always organized. I still not consider myself too organized, but I'm more organized than a lot of people. So I'm probably organized more than 80% of the people, but I still have 20% above me, right? But finding ways to organize your time is important.
Mm-hmm.
How you can make your time more efficient, and not spend too much time on things that don't pay off. For example, answering the phones in your school, that's a $10 job. If I'm answering the phone in school, and then I could be doing another job that is more expensive. They bring more to me. I'll be putting something in the market and working on my business instead of working in the business. So knowing what to do, when not to do, and schedule time. So basically, like we discussed before, I have an agenda that every month I go through everything I do, all my goals and all my plans. I try to plan ahead, at least 3 months ahead. I know people that try to plan a year ahead or 2 years ahead, and congrats to them. I want to get there. But now, I'm trying to be more efficient with this, right? And, my week, my day. So I'm becoming more and more methodic in what I do, and try to be, more disciplined, right? So I can do the things and don't let people disturb those things. And also to try to pass this culture to the people that work with me, which is not an easy thing to do, because when everybody wants to be efficient, it would be great to have everybody doing things that we know that will make you more efficient, So I think that's what we're talking about, right?
Well, I think
and the other one was...
You kind of went through optimism, because you kind of touched on discipline, efficiency, organization. Okay. So let's just put optimism in.
Okay, optimism, right? So I believe that you can achieve anything you want as long as you believe you can get it. That's where all optimism comes from. The believing of achieving something if you really believe you can do it. Because a lot of times we want things that we don't believe we can get it. Like our mind is not programmed, was not programmed sometimes by ourselves, by our parents, by people we hang out with, by the TV and media, that we can achieve things. And then when we want those things, we want them, but we think, well, that's just a dream, or you don't even think that, okay, how can I do that? It's too complicated, I believe everything is easy to do, but it's much easier not to do it. So everybody decides to do the easier thing. Oh, let's not do this because two is hard, but it's not hard. It's just easier not to do it. So that's how my mentality comes. So even when I think, man, this is going to be really hard, I understand that, okay, it's hard, but if you jump in it, somehow it will, show the problem you develop in a way that you're going to find the answer. The answer will always come. Sometimes not on time right away, but sometimes it'll come when you least expect it, right? You're sleeping or you're taking a shower, So I believe that any problem I have, I will find a solution, So I don't even call them problems anymore. I call them like challenges, But yeah, so basically is knowing that I can achieve what I want. But you have to, like in my case, because my belief in myself wasn't in a level that other people have, right? So I have to prove to myself that I could achieve things. And a lot of times I failed. I failed because I said, okay, I'm going to have a dream, I'm going to put a big dream there. And then obviously, it didn't work. So today a little bit more realistic. I try to gradually, at least realistic to myself. I know what I mean. I know that's not even be the right. Maybe if I really believe more, we get even bigger jumps. But I like the pace I'm going. I think if I gradually get my business better and add goals and dreams and desires to it, that I can accomplish them or get close to it, and that's going to give me more confidence to keep on moving, you know.
Since you've been like a big motivation to me to drive to be successful and everything. And that's why I want you to tell them a little bit just about yourself and like where you came from. Obviously, I know you were born in Brazil, but tell like the viewers a little bit just how you came from Brazil to San Clemente. Now that we know your whole story, how you became established here.
Okay, so I grew up in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I've been doing Jiu Jitsu since I'm 14 years old, since 1988. So, you know, I went through, you know, my school there. I went to university, actually in business. I got my BA. And then I decided to, instead of trying to live with doing some kind of working in the corporation business in Brazil, I decided to, you know, follow my passion, which was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know. And so I was doing a little bit in Brazil. I was teaching there. I was living with my parents at the time, tried to save money because I wasn't making any money by teaching, just enough to pay the bills a little bit. Like, you know, I have not a lot of bills when living with my parents. And then I had to make a decision, like if I wanted to continue doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or I want to go and start getting a job in a corporate world, you know. So I decided to, you know, go into like still doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, still going through the path of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But Brazil at the time wasn't the, you know, in my opinion, wasn't the place, you know. So I look around, and then you know, in the United States, the idea of coming to the United States popped in my head, and I knew about many good instructors that were already here, and I thought maybe I can kill two birds with one stone. I go there and keep learning because I love to learn, you know. I'm a eternal student, and then I can also try to figure out if I can have a business over there, you know. So then I came here in 2000, you know, so pretty much, you know, coming from Brazil, here 2000, and here I am.
I know there's no shortcuts in business, but is there any one thing that you could maybe relay to the viewers that helped you the most in coming, you know, up the ladder to success?
Okay, yes, of course. There's two things that I wanted to mention here. One is understanding that your business is not only about what you do. Like if you're a baker, or if you're, you know, a brick and mortar business, is about bringing people to you as well. So understand that, you know, we're in the business of marketing and sales as well as we're in the business of doing what we do. Okay. As a matter of fact, we're more than that. We're in the business of, you know, entertainment. It doesn't matter what you do. You know, today, you know, the world, you know, is boring. You know, and then if you're another boring business, you're just going to be more. So, but it's all more related to marketing and sales. All right. Make sure that you know how to bring people to you. Make sure you know how to get them to become your clients, and then make sure you know how to keep them. All right. So that's one thing. And the second thing is mentorship, you know, finding people that are above you, they are willing to teach you their way, you know. Today they have coaching groups, they have mastermind groups, you know. I'm a big believer of Napoleon Hill, and I read all his books. Think and Grow Rich, I actually read like 6 times, and every year I think I'm gonna read more than 20, because my goal is to find new things and apply new things. And one of the principles is the mastermind, and that can be done by you finding people that has been there, or, you know, beyond that right now, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, it takes much more time to try to do things for the first time when somebody else just can say, look, this, you know, this, I've done that this way, and if you tweak this and this, you're gonna, improve your result by 30%. So you've been just knocking your head against the wall for, not making that one little sentence by somebody that has more experience than you would put you on another level. So those are the two things that finding out that you're not only a small business owner, but you have to have the skill of marketing, because it's a skill that you don't want to trust other people to do it, because you understand your business more than everybody else. So you're the right person to be able to share and communicate with other people about your business. And the second is find a mentor, or mentors that can take you to other level, and that you're not in this moment. Okay, so those are the two things I really think that has changed my life and consistently changed my life every day.
So now, since we know about your business here in San Clemente, how you came and grew up in Brazil, but I mean, what drove you to become successful? Like, was it your parents? What started you on this quest of success?
Okay, so
I like that.
All right, so no, I don't think we're my parents. My dad was, he lost his job a long time ago. I don't even remember him working. He was like alcoholic at the time, you know what I mean? So most of his life he lived on other people's money, family money, and then, and that's how we lived. My mom, same. My mom was like a person that was like a housewife, so I was a housewife and a man that was not working. But somehow we made it through it, some of the diversities and all that. They made it through it. They did their best to put me in a good university, and we went from there. But, when I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I started to compete, I felt like a urge to succeed. I think, man, I wanted to be the best at what I was doing back then, So, I became really good at what I was doing, and I started winning a lot of very important tournaments. And I had a good instructor at the time that was like motivating me to try my best and to keep pushing myself. So I think that was the beginning of how the idea of being successful, because I want to be successful in what I was doing back then. Then we grow up and start getting, more responsibilities. And then I moved to the United States, and I still have in my mind to be good at Jiu-Jitsu, to keep learning, because the passion was Jiu-Jitsu, But then, I can't even say like around the year 2010, which was late for me, right? Because like 8 years ago, I was about 46 years old. I realized that, I was good at Jiu-Jitsu, but I wasn't making any money. So I think, man, okay, I'm successful here, and then you mentioned success, right? Because success is something abstract, right? So what is success, right? Some people are successful with certain things. Why? Because they're happy with what they have, and then if they're happy with what they have, they feel successful, At that point, I felt, look, I need, more. I need to, make money doing what I'm doing. If I'm successful being a competitor, why I'm not successful being a businessman, running my business. So I started to realize, well, how can I be successful? And then I realized I didn't know anything about business. Like even in all the university I did, like in university in Brazil, you're trained to be a corporate employee and maybe one day a CEO, but you're not trained to be a small business owner. So the year 2010, I looked for help, and then I went to a seminar of actually a friend of mine that was very successful. His name is Lloyd Irvin, and this seminar opened my mind. He talked about all the mental things we have and the blocks, and that day completely changed the way I think about running a business. I realized that I was just having a hobby. My hobby was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was like doing my passion teaching what I want, but I wasn't actually putting time on growing my business. So at that point, I realized the success for me now would be having the best martial arts school at first in my city, and then maybe in the world. You know, that's my future goal. You know, it's like when I say the best martial arts, I mean it's like, you know, we're pursuing excellence. You know, so I want to have a martial art that people come here and say, man, everything is on the place. It looks good. The instruction is good. The business runs smooth. You know, but I know that that's like a constant pursuit. You know, like is something that is always like is a living entity that never is going to stop. You know what I mean? So that's my idea, and that's what I want now. And I don't know what's going to be my success after I achieve that. Like we keep changing it, right?
Yes, exactly. And I've noticed you've constantly been shifting gears since I've been with you, and you're never set on one thing. You're always willing to embrace new technologies and new systems, and you're always staying alert with what's going on in business.
Yeah. I figure one thing that, you know, once you start looking for people, like you start finding mentors, right? And I found a mentor that he told me, like, you know, you have to not only, you know, be good in what you do, but you have to be good in bringing people to you. So in my opinion, on my small business, that was the aha moment that I think, okay, I'm good in what I do, but am I good in bringing people to me? Which skill is actually more important right now. So, and then I started to put my mind, okay, so I have to learn another skill. You know, and the other skill would be sales and marketing. You know what I mean? But along with that, and then came a lot of different things. Now I have to learn how to run a business, I have to learn how to hire, I have to learn how to have systems, I have to learn how to, you know what I mean, like to train people to be good staff. So, you know, you just keep on going and going. But the fun thing is, you know, since I consider myself a student, so I'm happy to study those things, and I'm happy to keep learning and keep trying to improve it, and you know, and getting better a little bit here, a little bit there. That's actually exciting for me.
And coming from, you know, where you came from and reaching this point of, you know, success, which I'm sure you're still striving, you know, towards higher levels. What are some of the failures that you've had in business? You know, because everyone talks about the positive things, and let's talk about some of the mistakes maybe some small business owners could watch out from. I don't know if you have any, like...
Oh yeah, I have plenty.
Okay.
Like in martial arts, I pretty much made all the mistakes in the world. You know, you know, I'm teaching classes to just trying to make my students the toughest people in the world. When a lot of people only want to come to me and having a good time. Not having any system, like, you know, people come to the school and I didn't have a system. Like, what do I do? Like, every time people come, I wing it. Like, this time I talk to the guy in 3 seconds. The other time I'm teaching the class, I barely look to the person. Every time was a different treatment. I didn't know which one worked better because I only have many, and most of them, you know, was based on no knowledge of anything, you know. So not having like a script, not having people answering your phone. I basically used to be an army of one man, and then I put my ex-wife, which she didn't know anything about business, and you know, which was another mistake. I'd be really careful when you do things like that, because you know, you mix two different things that together, and you know, is something that I have to be careful. But anyway, so the marketing part, I didn't know how to. I didn't know anything about marketing. For me, marketing was look at what everybody else was doing it and just copying it. But once I figured it out, the marketing is actually looking at what everybody else is doing, and then doing the opposite. That is a good marketing, because you're never going to stand out if you're in the group of everybody else. You know, you're going to find your own category, in your own niche, in your own way of doing things. So you can be different. You can stand out in the group. Okay, so that was like a very important lesson that I learned. And you know, how to hire, how to use people to help. I didn't know how to, you know, obviously I did try and error, try this, try that, until I'm still learning that too, as a matter of fact. But you know, I still realize that, you know, there are lessons out there. People have done that before. You can go there and look for those things that other people have done it, and then do what they did. Follow recipes. That's one thing that, you know, it helped me a lot. Somebody did it. If I try to do the same, I might have big chance to have the same result. You know, organize myself, make sure that I use my time right, because, you know, I was all over the place. So, man, the list goes on and on. Putting money in the wrong investments, not caring where I put my money, like not looking for ROI of everything you do. You know, nowadays, like, you know, if I put $1 somewhere, I better off get $1.10. Otherwise, this dollar is not going to come out of my pocket. You know what I mean? And, you know, as a small business, I think, like, one of the biggest mistake people make is like, oh, somebody comes and convince them to do something. They don't know how to do it. They don't know if the person is good. And then okay, since I'm not doing it, let me just try it. But they don't even track it. So tracking is a good thing. And man, the list goes on and on and on. And I can be all day talking about that. You know, there are many lessons, and I'm just learning, and I know we're gonna bump into many more.
That's awesome. I'm sure like people can pull a lot from there, because there was a lot of really good things that you talked about in like that little segment.